Hallo Klickenabendler, wir sind auf der Messe in Essen, auf der Spiel 2022. Am dritten Tag, heute bei Delicious Games. Next to me is the author of the game Woodcraft, a new game by Delicious Game from Vladimir Zaki and Ross Arnold. Hi Arnold. Hi Ross.
Hello.
What's the game about?
Yeah, so in the game you're going to be running your own workshop, which are these player boards over here. You're going to be filling your workshop with various tools and staff who can perform actions for you, and who will let you, the tools will let you manipulate the dice, which is your wood. This is the lumber in the game. Each color dice is a different value, and the size of the dice, the value of the dice, is actually the length of the plank that you'll be working with. So a 6-foot board, for example, a 6-foot plank of yellow wood, you can then use a saw blade, for example, to chop that into 2 3s, or it could be 5 and a 1, for example, as well. And various other dice manipulation systems. For example, you could take 2 pieces of wood, spending some glue and one of your free actions on your player mat to actually glue 2 wood back together, maybe making a 2 of the color of your the color that you want it to be, for instance. And that's all in service of completing these contracts, which are projects that people are asking you to build for them. Lots of very cute little images here of frames and bowls and instruments and stuff like that.
So it's a dice management game.
Yeah, dice manipulation, order fulfillment, and there's a very nice rondel over here with some bonuses for all of the actions that have been left behind at the back. Similar to Praga, a little bit more dynamic as the bonuses shift and change a little bit.
So let's have a look inside the rules, how the game works.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to play over 13 rounds in the game. The round overview is shown on your player mat right here in this white banner. The first thing that's going to happen on your turn is any dice that you have planted in your plant pots is going to grow by 2. So this is a nice way of increasing the amount of wood that you have available to you without having to buy it from the lumber pile. So this would turn up to a 5, for example, and there are ways to get other plant pots that may have other coloured wood in them, and all of these would grow by 2 pips every single turn if they're in there. The next thing that you can do on your turn is then either a main action, or you will do a main action, and in any order, any of the free actions that you can do on your board, such as cutting, gluing, activating your staff, things like that. And the main actions are on this wheel over here, and you're going to essentially choose one of the 7 actions to perform, and as they move around the wheel, that's how those bonuses build up. So currently, these 3 tiles have a small bonus, 1 free resource associated with them. But if as soon as a player moves one of these tiles around, it's going to actually rotate, and that's now going to open up an extra bonus, a bigger bonus of 3 points and a refresh token, which can be very helpful. And that means also that this tile that was moved can no longer be played because it can't move into, the arrow can't move through a quadrant that already has tiles in there. But that's when we have these lantern tokens, which will allow you to modify the actions that you're choosing. So for example, if you really want to do this action, which is an upgrade, and that's the way that you add the various additional tools and things like that, what you could do is choose an action that has a nice bonus, spend a lantern, and then you're going to change the action associated with it and instead perform the one that maybe you can't do. Or perhaps the one that has no bonus associated with it. We're going to do that, like I said, 13 times. Every 3 or 4 turns, depending on player count and depending on how far into the game we are. We're going to take income, and you're going to get income in various ways, from collecting tools, which are going to go up into your attic over here. You're also going to get them by adding staff. You'll notice that anytime you cover a staff position on your player map, you're going to be increasing income in either victory point or blueberry income. And as well as a few other ways, there's some helpers that also come with some income and things like that. You're also going to be gaining reputation throughout the game, so that's this red track over here. That's very helpful. If you get really high on that track, you're going to be getting a lot of points, because every second step is actually going to increase a multiplier for every contract that you've been able to complete during the game. So if you've completed 8 contracts that game, and you have your reputation maybe up to this spot, you're going to receive 5 points for every one. That's 40 additional points at the end of the game. There are also ways which you could get final scoring cards over here, which will just add additional up to 18 or so points. And you can get 2 of them during the game.
You mentioned that we are going with the dice. Did we get the dice by the actions, of course, I guess?
Yeah, of course.
When do we roll them?
So
while we are getting them?
That's a great question. So there's 2 ways to get dice in the game. You can, other than the free ones that you'll get as bonuses, there's 2 ways to buy dice in the game. One of the actions will allow you to buy from this pool here, which is at the beginning of the game randomly rolled, and it lets you take 2 of those dice. So I might take those.
Keep the value.
Keep the value as they are, and you'd pay for them. The cost is depending on the color and on the size. And then what I do is, at the end of my turn, I would re-roll, and I would fill this supply up.
I see.
That's one way. The other way that you can do this is also an action, this particular action, which lets you first sell one of your dice, and then use that money, or any money you already have, to purchase a size 6, and that comes from the supply. So there doesn't need to be a 6 in this area. You would just, for instance, take this 6 into your supply and pay for it. And the important thing there is it has to be a different color from the one you sold. Yeah. And then the other actions, there's lots of actions that you can do. Like I said, there's 7 different actions. You can take new contracts over here, which would go onto your player board. Now the contracts are, there's a little bit of a rush to get them done, but you can also be rewarded by taking your time. However, every income phase, they're going to slide down and depreciate a little bit. And what happens is, you'll notice that they start in where this icon is shown in the corner. And that's going to be a reward that you get if you complete it on the same round, I should say the same era, let's say, that you received it. But if it slides down, that bonus is actually going to be depreciating.
And you see that here.
Yeah, exactly. That's this track along the side of the board. And eventually, so essentially this blank day, that's the day the customer would like it done by. And if you do it then, there's no extra bonuses. But if you do it a day early, you get a nice tip. If you do it very early, you get some reputation, and if you do it a day late, you're actually going to lose victory points. Should a contract slide off the board, you're going to lose it, and you're going to lose 2 reputation, which could be not so great.
All right.
Yeah.
So that were all the actions which we had.
Yeah. So buying helpers or new staff that you can add into your workshop. Contracts are the contracts I just mentioned. You can buy other materials. We have glue, saw blades, and scrap wood, which can be added to your supply to help you do various things. The 2 actions that let you buy the wood. We also have an upgrade action. This is the way that you're going to be adding new saws or new scrap wood tiles into your workshop so that you can be more effective with the way that you do your free actions. You're also going to be able to do this action, which actually allows you to produce. Some of the cards have these production effects on them. In fact, all of the helpers do. And you're going to, once they're in your workshop, you can actually produce the items shown in that area. For example, extra lanterns or some berries or dice or things like that. And then you can also plant wood. So this one would let you reduce a die pip by 1 or 2. So let's say I'll take that down by 1. And I'm going to plant the one, supposing that I have the yellow plant pot, the 1 would go directly into that plant pot.
Wait a minute. Was jetzt die ganze Zeit gezoomt?
Sorry.
Okay. Ja, okay, gut. Okay. Ja.
Is that Marcus and Inca brand?
Yeah. She just needed a 6, but that's fine.
No. I would like to meet them as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, you're fine. What do we start?
Where do we?
So I just was talking about upgrading the actions, so you can use this tile to add various other tiles to your board, like the additional plant pots, the saw blades, and things like that.
Okay. So that's the basic mechanics how I choose the actions.
Yeah, exactly.
Where I can buy the dice with different things. Here I keep the dice till I need them, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can hold 6. At the end of your turn, you have to discard down to 6, but you can hold more than that and then fulfill contracts to remove them before the end of your turn.
And I use the die to get actions, to build up my die. I need the die for to do the contracts or orders which are here.
Yeah,
this one helps me also with the whole management.
Exactly. These are going to be all of the ways in which you can manipulate the dice. The helpers will also do various things for you, such as this one. Once per turn, it allows you to sell resources you don't need for extra money. And the blueberries are very tight in the game. There's not a lot there, so that's a very handy one to have.
Did we mention that here?
No, yeah. So at the end of your turn, after you've done a main action and as many free actions as you'd like, you can then pump money into marketing. That's essentially spend money to buy some victory points, and you're going to move this token up the track. You can only do that once per turn, and there's 8 steps on the track and only 13 turns. So if you can't do it more than 5 times, you won't get to the end of that track.
And this here is my victory points track.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
basically are the rules.
Yeah. There's a few other small bits and bobs, but that's generally the overview of the rules.
How long does the game take?
If you're playing it for the first time, it's probably going to take a little longer. It does say on the box 120 minutes for 4 players. I probably play it a little quicker than that with a group of 4 that they've played it a few times. For instance, I could probably play a 1 or a 2 player game 45 minutes to an hour, despite the 80-minute listed on the box. But that's me. I like to play quickly as well. So.
And it's a gamer's game, of course.
Yes, it's
because
very
of the whole
tough.
rules.
It's a very tough game to do well at. The rules overhead, I think, is a little bit less than games like Praga or Messina, but I think there's a lot of depth in the way that you can use those the actions to manipulate the dice.
How long did it take to develop the game to the finished state?
I'm really bad with timelines, so this is probably wrong. But my understanding is I worked on it for about a year on my own before Vladimir got involved, and then we worked on it for probably started about 2 years ago or so, I think so. Maybe slightly more than 2 years ago.
And you did some games before?
No, this is my first one. Yeah.
Oh, this is your first one.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to create a game and to see it then?
Yeah, it feels great. I'm very happy, very lucky to be working with Delicious Games, and to have Vladimir's name on the box as well. It makes me feel very good.
How did you find the publisher, or how did the game found Delicious Games?
Yeah, so I worked on it for a long time, just on my own. Just created the game. It was quite different. A lot of it is still there. The dice manipulation, the workshop, the way that you're filling it with cards and tools, that was there. Not exactly as it is right now, but it was in some form it was there. And then the main action selection was just worker placement. When I sent the design to Delicious Games, they liked a lot of it, but they didn't really they didn't think that the action selection was very innovative or different. So Vladimir had some ideas to improve upon it, and he did, and he sent me back some ideas and basically a developed idea with something similar to this, but not quite exactly like this, which we then worked on together for some time to get it to where it is now.
And how did you found Delicious Game? You know them before?
Yes.
The games?
Yeah, Pulsar 2849 is my favorite game. So Vladimir is up there with my favorite designers, as well as Underwater Cities and Praga. I big fan of Vladimir, and sent it to him on Board Game Geek actually.
And you're here for the first time in Essen, or did you went there before?
First time in Germany, first time in Essen.
Yeah. And you live in?
I live in New York City, but I'm from the north of England, near Manchester.
Okay, but you live in the USA,
yes,
New York City? So then you go to Gen Con there, right? I guess?
I've been to PAX Unplugged, but I've not been to Gen Con. I'd like to go though.
So how is the fair compared to PAX?
It's interesting. It's a little different. I've not seen it as a customer, as someone just roaming the halls as much as I have with PAX. The difference here, it seems, is there's a lot more room to just sit down and play till the end of the night here at PAX, I mean. Whereas here it's more about the booths and looking at the demos and things like that. And I very much, I like the games here generally a little bit more. Some of these Euro games end up at PAX, but this is definitely the place for me. I feel better here, yeah.
Because of the different foreign countries and booths?
Yeah, all of that, and the different the types of games that are here. There's a lot more leaning into the heavier Euro style games, here than there are at PAX.
So you count the weight which you get back in the airplane, if it is allowed or not, with new games which you get from here?
Oh, sorry, I didn't quite understand that.
Do you get some games from here back to your home, I guess?
Yes, yeah, I've got a couple copies to take home, yeah.
And you have enough space in the airplane for it?
We'll see. I'm yet to pack. Once I pack, I might need to nip out and buy another suitcase, we'll see.
I see. All right, then thanks for the short interview.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for the explanation of your first game then.
Yeah.
And hope you have a nice fair so far. And
yeah, it's
the
been
last
great.
day, I guess, will also be good.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.